Election day started an hour ago in my neighborhood, and we don't have cords to plug in the voting machines. This is what we call voter suppression. This is what we go through to vote.
There were many examples of voter suppression manifesting itself during the midterm elections this season. And we saw how voter suppression, when it rears its ugly head, has a greater impact on communities of color, on students, on poor communities. We saw that in many urban areas where the majority of voters at those precincts were people of color or were poor people, they were coming to precincts where voting machines either weren't working or where there simply weren't enough put in place. What happens is that there are long lines, people are waiting for an exorbitant amount of time, and for many voters, they know they can't afford to stand in line for 2, 3, or maybe more hours to cast their vote.
We still in line. Yep, ain't going nowhere. We right here.
We all knew that voting was today, and only in my neighborhood, people are waiting an hour after the polls open to vote.
There are many Americans, again, particularly in urban minority communities, who have jobs where they may get an hour off, if that, to go and vote. For some of them, they don't get any time off, and they've got to figure out, how do I fit it in between carpooling? How do I fit it in between elder care for my parents? How do I fit it in between making sure that I get to the office in enough time to punch my clock so that my payroll is not docked? Those are serious issues, and that is the kind of suppression that we saw manifest itself on Election Day. In response to some of the issues and problems that voters were facing on Election Day, there were lawsuits that were filed by lawyers across the country. The 2018 midterms really showed us that voters were more engaged than what we historically see during midterm season. We also saw that voters were feeling empowered and really wanted to have an opportunity to stand up and have their voices heard to make a change in terms of how their government operates.